All right, we're here with James McTeague, as the director of V for Vendetta, and now Ninja Assassin is your next film.
Yep.
And let's start off by talking about how this is really a chance to take a really beloved genre of ninja movies, and what you're doing is kind of giving it a higher profile treatment, like an A movie treatment instead of the B movie treatment. Why was that important for you to do, or why were you passionate about doing that?
Well, I think it's a good genre, and it was one that I had grown up with, and one that I kind of really loved. I mean, I know there was all like the ninja movies in the '80s, which were a little kind of cheesy, but had their own attraction. Shogashugi, who ended up in Ninja Assassin, he was in all of those,
which is so cool that he's in that, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I guess all those. All those films from that time they were kind of cool. Like you get into them. There's a bit of cheese, but there was also something always interesting about those films. And I also grew up with some TV series that were basically the precursor to those movies. I guess Shintaro was one, and the Phantom Agents was another. And I thought it'd be good to drag it out and dust it off, and give it the affectation of an A genre, and see if we couldn't breathe life into the old dog again.
Nice. You mentioned just now Shintaro, and what other movies? I know Shokasugi's got this ninja trilogy that is fantastic, really good entertainment, especially Revenge of the Ninja.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What other movies do you think you'd like to see people maybe discover because of this film?
Well, I don't know, so much discover movies. I mean, there's so many movies that get remade now. I mean, it seems to be like, the default position. And, I guess, I could have gone back and, made, Prayer for Death or American Ninja or, any one of those things. But I guess it was more interested in the genre itself, I guess. And rather than doing a remake, going back and sort of like taking and making it more of a homage to the genre itself. So I guess I'd prefer not to go back and like remake the movies, but like take it in another direction. People always ask me actually what game Ninja Assassin's based on, and I go, well, it's not based on a game, but maybe in the future. Maybe in the future,
a game may be based on it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Speaking of which, I guess there's kind of a video game feel to the movie, or there's certainly that. You went with a lot of CGI blood, and why not use practical?
Because there was no way that I could get practical blood to do what I wanted it to do. There is some practical blood in there. To be fair, I did it. Some bits of it, mainly in the safe house area, which is the big warehouse area where there's a long set piece. Some of that is practical blood. Blood bags digitally removed. You do that, but the other stuff, the super stylized stuff that I wanted to do, like in the tattoo parlor or on top of the rooftop, and towards the end of the film, was to make it a cross between anime and the type of blood you see in games at the moment, because I think it has a really interesting quality, and I think I wasn't really interested in doing like the squirting blood from all those films that Tarantino homaged and, sort of ended up in Kill Bill. That kind of wasn't interesting to me, and had kind of been done before. I thought there'd be something cool to have the, that kind of viscous, kind of otherworldly quality to the blood. So that's why I did a lot of it digitally.
Is there this is my ignorance on this situation, but is there an MPAA rating situation with using that much practical blood? Because you do use a ton of blood.
It's true, but to be fair to the MPAA, I thought that they would kick the film back because of the content. But I think they saw it for what it was, and they gave me an R rating. And on the R rating, I thought very succinctly they said R rating for stylized action and blood. So I thought that was kind of. That was kind of smart. I think they got that I wasn't trying to, make Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer or something kind of really, like, nasty. I was just saying, here's an action movie. I'm dealing with the blood in a certain kind of way.
Which is interesting. I'm just thinking about like back in the day when you're watching like Mortal Kombat. You're playing Mortal Kombat the video game. How in the United States they had to like change it.
Yeah.
Because that thing, I don't know, 16-bit blood.
Yeah, right.
So outrageous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of I guess now, and I think it's just an equality that's starting to happen in films. But I mean, like, because for the most part, games are way more violent than films, and I think like there's a merging of the two cultures, even if they're even separate these days. But and I think they recognise that. I think the MPAA recognise that.
And now you kind of front loaded, like every filmmaker kind of does that. Was looking for an R rating. You kind of front loaded the film.
Yeah.
Thinking that you'd have to cut some stuff out after a challenge or something like that with the MPAA.
Yeah.
Did you end up after they gave you the R? And I'm sure you opened it in the mail and got wide-eyed that they gave you the R on the first chance. Did you take anything out voluntarily after that? That was just
no.
Totally.
No.
So,
yeah.
Big smile on your face.
Yeah, big smile on my face. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Like that that kind of attitude. And to the studio's credit too, they were supportive of it as well. Because I think you can't but watch that film and go, okay, he is trying to, he's trying to pay homage to a genre. He's trying to say this is in no way kind of real, So I think they got that, which is pretty cool.
Cool. Well, now Rain's character Rizzo, he even on the marketing materials and all that stuff, and throughout the movie, he uses a special weapon, and it's a blade on a chain, which I don't know if it's a kusarigama. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's based on like the rope dart, I guess, basically. And so Rain trained like with the rope dart, and you can see like it's still there. There's the ball on the end of the chain, and then the blade was something that I just designed with the weapons manufacturer, this guy called Simon Atherton, and I basically just wanted to make it look really deadly, so that's how it ends up in that kind of shape. But yeah, it's a really hard weapon to use to make it look cool. But Rain, much to his credit, kind of like mastered it. Obviously without the blade on it. But yeah.
Besides making it look really, really cool or very deadly, was there any special significance in wanting to give him a different weapon instead of going with a traditional, sword for a ninja?
Yeah, absolutely. You wanted to, distinguish his fighting style, like distinguish that was the thing that he learnt to use, and if, you took like the point of view that like each ninja that got trained, had a discipline, maybe one had a discipline in like a bow staff and one had a discipline in like 2 katanas at a time or something like that. Yeah, I wanted to make his very distinctive. And then I think you kind of get that in the training sequences and then when he uses it towards the end.
And those training sequences are a really cool kind of homage not only to ninja flicks but also kind of older kung fu movies and stuff. The orange posts in the courtyard and that sort of thing. Training.
Yeah, it was it was fun doing those things. He looks pretty incredible. When
he seems to have gotten in shape.
Yeah, man, he got in shape.
Did you also get in shape for the movie in the same way?
Me? No.
Just follow the same training to lead by example.
The only thing I did was shave my hair off, actually, to lead by example. We had a bunch of kids, like the kids in the orphanage, and I had this dictum that they all had to have their heads shaved and